And it looks like we are starting the draft, everybody. So we're gonna hop right into that. Resurgence will be the first to ban. See, Steve is still getting his cup of water. It looks like he's coming back soon though, so nothing's happened yet. We're sitting at the ban stage. This time is ticking.
See, what'd I tell you? Magic.
Perfect.
When I get back, we're gonna be in draft. It's all good. Didn't even miss a ban.
Just getting a quick little tweet out there to let everybody know what is going on. And Zeratul coming out of Resurgence. I know Zeratul is something to be afraid of. Does Glorious play that much Zeratul?
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. They have Glaurung, and Glaurung
Oh, yeah.
Zeratul is actually terrifying. He was known as Mr. Stitches for a while, and now he's known as Mr. Stitches and Glaurung and Zeratul. I mean, we see it a lot. Like his Zeratul is really aggressive. He'll find ways to use Wormhole that he'll just get in, do a ton of damage, and back off. So definitely a good idea there to ban that out. Interesting to see that they didn't actually ban Stitches. I would say that that's more of a scary pick from Glaurung than Zeratul is, but they might feel like they're okay with dealing with Stitches. If they are worried about Stitches, they have two options. They either take it first pick, which is almost never a good idea, or they take Tassadar to have Oracle so that they can look for the picks whenever they come up, and that is my opinion is a much better idea. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Tassadar pick up from Resurgence first pick. Whether it happens or not, we're about to find out. We have 30 seconds left.
Tyrael ban. Pretty typical. I think that's always a solid ban. Definitely Zeratul with those setup plays. Void Prison, either taking out the team or setting up the team for death. And Tassadar being picked. Strong hero, Archon, shields, vision.
Yep. Everything about him. I mean, wave clear, he's got it. Building clear, he's got that as well.
Healing ward.
Yeah, he's got healing ward. He's got extra damage on things that are hit by Psystorm. He's got all kinds of goodies. And Glorious knows what they want to do. They're like, okay, you know what? We don't even need Stitches. We're gonna go straight to the Arthas and Tychus.
ZP power pick right there on Arthas.
Right. I mean, it's there. Like we talked about Arthas already twice today. It's so good. His healing is insane. His lockdown is very real, and his lane presence is nothing to laugh at. Add in a Tychus there, and you're looking at a very scary composition. Additionally, this means that they could, if they really wanted to, go with a Rhaegar support, and what that'll allow is Odin with Bloodlust, and Arthas getting in their face to slow them down, as I talked about earlier, constantly having Frozen Tempest hitting people, constantly just locking people up, and doing a decent amount of damage himself. Very, very scary stuff. So now it comes down to, does Resurgence pick Uther here, or do they go with what I would imagine would be Falstead?
I don't know. It's tough. I'd be a little bit afraid to give Glorious Uther because, I mean, Uther is so strong, and Anubarak with Uther is really strong. So I would feel that Uther would be a solid pick, even though Falstead is scary to go against. I feel like you could still work your way around it. Whereas if Glorious gets Uther and then you're left with, I mean, any of the supports, be it Rhaegar, Malf, Lily. I'm not even really like afraid.
Brightwing.
Yeah,
Brightwing.
Brightwing.
Yeah.
Lily's kind of just in the back, but
Lily doesn't actually exist. She's just she's like the anchor of the game. She's just kind of cast out there, and she exists. We know that she's out there, but nobody really cares. She's just on the side.
and a
We
solid
do see Uther getting
pick.
picked up. Yeah. So that's not anything that's not anything surprising. Taking that away is certainly a good idea. And now it almost, I don't want to say it forces Glorious into having Rhaegar, but it makes it a much easier choice for them if they want to go for that build. And let's see, Tyrael's banned out. They do play a decent amount of Chen, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Chen and Rhaegar getting picked up. They don't have to worry about picking up Rhaegar until very last pick if they really want to, so they can do 2 power picks here. Falstead, I would imagine, is one of them, and Chen's still a good idea to me.
I
don't
think Chen's
see a
a
reason why
solid
to do it.
hero to go for. I
So
mean,
we'll see.
he's got that leap, his kick solid. Root kick is great, and then being able. You very rarely see the barrel roll, the barrel ultimate
Yeah,
from
Wandering
Chen.
Keg doesn't come up very often. We
So
did see it yesterday though.
the Earth Storm Fire is always a solid pick. We do see the Falstad. Not too surprising. Super strong hero. Shock and awe. Always powerful.
Yep.
But
He's a really safe damage dealer and a very high damage dealer.
mhm.
We don't normally see much. We don't see much Nova from Glorious, but if they really wanted to go for a damage comp, they could here. I wouldn't expect to see that. We have seen a decent amount of Kerrigan coming out of them recently, though, that would put 3 assassins on their team. And while that is kind of scary, oh, Rhaegar, that's kind of weird. While that is kind of scary, I don't know if I would like to see that from them this game. Although Arthas, Kerrigan, Rome is, it's very real, very devastating. But again, the Rhaegar pick kind of weird. I highly doubt that Resurgence would have picked Rhaegar as well. So I'm not sure why they picked that up so early. They could have denied a potential option for Resurgence, but it looks like they weren't really sure what they wanted, but they know that they were going to pick Rhaegar in the end, so they just went ahead and snapped that up instead of getting a random pick because of the timer on picking.
It could be possible they want to pick Nova in the later and don't think Resurgence will. Resurgence does need another tank. Well, they don't need another tank, but
They need damage dealers.
they do
They
need
need
damage
damage dealers
dealers.
real
So
bad.
I don't know if Chen would be. I mean, Chen would be a nice takeaway from Glorious. Plus, the combination with Anubarak and Chen is pretty solid. I don't.
I would
Nova,
imagine we're going to see a Vala, almost definitely.
Avala almost definitely. And if they want to, there's the Vala. If they
And
want to,
it's
they could go Nova because Nova does have some pretty good damage, especially against a Falstad, and can quickly pop out Tychus. And while he's opening up Precision Strike, and it's depending if Rhaegar gets Lust or Ancestral. I mean, Nova could be a solid pick for Resurgence and that extra bit of damage. Unless they're afraid that they're going to get pushed in on, they may go for another tank.
I would I would like to see I would like to see Zagara right now. I would
Zagara
like to
would
see
be good.
Zagara for the Maw. If they bloodlust, she can just maw them, eat up a sizable chunk of the bloodlust, and say, you know what, we're just gonna wait it out. I don't actually know what map we're going to. It looks like it's Terror, Garden of Terror
Garden
that
of
we're
Terror is the
we're
map,
in on right
guys.
now. Okay, so Garden of Terror is happening. And the
Nazebo!
Zebo, that's
Brup. Hey.
yeah, that let's see, how are they gonna pull this off?
I mean, they don't. If you look at Glorious, they don't really have any CC. Tychus with his grenade is the only one right now.
Yeah. Well, the issue with taking a Zebo against Rhaegar with a potential for Bloodlust comp is that you have to be very far away and very safe. If at some point so okay, here's the bigger issue. The front line of Resurgence is basically non-existent. It doesn't actually exist. If Glorious Bloodlust and they burst down Uther, they obviously have the opportunity to burst down Anubarak as well because he's going to be coming in. Okay, so there's the Chen. Um, they have the opportunity to just burst both of those two frontliners down. Vala's not going to be able to stop them. Tassadar's not going to be able to stop them from getting to the Nazebo. So unless Resurgence is first to act and gets kind of a gib on someone or a very large chunk of damage down that forces Glorious to be on the back foot at the start of the fight, I don't see Glorious backing down ever. They're just going to say, okay, you know what? Chen went in. We're going to have the Howling Blast following behind it. Lust is going to come up. We're going to kill that first target, and then we're going to steamroll through this fight. So it's a very dangerous comp that Resurgence is running. It can pay off like huge if they get it, because having the Zevo after a team fight will allow you to push things that you normally wouldn't be able to do. But I'm not sure if it's going to work out in their favor. We'll see how it works in this game. And my biggest thing is, who are they going to put if they wanted to do a roaming composition? Is it going to be a noob and Uther?
I think a new Boother would be very strong, but Glorious does like to do their roaming with, I believe it'd be Arthas, and then it's really, I mean, Falstad wouldn't be in there. Tychus is a better laner. Rhaegar is strong, and Chen doesn't really have much roam until he gets level 7, so I don't know how Glorious is going to
I would say
this.
it's probably going to be Chen and Arthas for the roam,
Yeah.
just because I mean the damage isn't like hyper negligible from Chen early on. It's not anything major, but with an Arthas you have Chen jump in. He obviously doesn't have the snare in his kick right away, but he can jump in. He can throw down the keg to slow down whoever they decide to target. After they're slowed, it makes Howling Blast a lot easier to land. And then after the Howling Blast lands, Then you have the Frozen Tempest to keep them locked down in the area. And mind you, this isn't this. They're doing this while they're going into lane too. So if they do it on one of the two damage dealers, whether it's Falstad or Tychus in lane, then whoever they decide to jump on, if they're even slightly out of position, probably not making it out. Especially if it's Tychus, he'll just grenade them back, kind of ruin their day. So the roam is strong if they decide to do it. Chen is, however, one of the best laners in the game. So we might not see that roam, and it looks like he's actually going to be in top lane for this game.
One thing I am a little bit worried about, though, is if they don't push down on Resurgence, Nazeebo has no interrupts, or has nothing to fear to get interrupted by,
Right.
except a grenade from Tychus. Like, that's... We're going to see some nice Ravenous Spirits, I think.
We might see a keg for that reason.
Oh!
I highly doubt it.
But the keg, it doesn't interrupt him. It would just push him.
Yeah, but displacement will stop the Ravenous Spirit.
When keg is used on ETC, it just pushes him if he's moshing. It moves the mosh pit. I think.
I don't know. I mean, it might max range it and then cause it to. I don't
that's
know.
True, yeah.
Actually.
I guess we'll find out.
I'm not sure what the reaction is. I highly doubt we'll see keg either way. So
Storm,
we'll see as
Earth,
the game
Fire
goes
is
through.
too strong.
Yeah. And it looks like we're seeing the Tychus and Arthas roam top. 3v3 happening here. They're not going to be able to see ZP though, so no gank going to happen. They're just going to walk away real casually. And do we have any fun level 1 talents coming in? No, not really. Falstad has Bribe, but no stacking talents except for Depth Ritual
Pretty
on
much
the
normal
Zebo.
talents.
Yeah, pretty standard. Oh, a 4-man roam, however, going in on mid. Hard to kill Vala though.
That vault will just save her so easily. It looks like they're deciding not to, and they're gonna take their seeds. That's a good pick on them.
Yep. They need to check out top though, as they do have. Oh my, that's
Oh.
aggressive. That's aggressive and could end up getting them hurt, but actually it's going to be a 2-on-3 right as we go in here. ZP going to be the first focus target. Does get knocked up. Nothing doing after that though. Now Narak is in a really bad location.
Tyke is getting overdrive down for free.
Oh, Narak not going to be able to make it out as the bind does come down. The root hits, and Notorious the Edgy being forced to run away. The grenade hits Short Steve. He will end up dropping. And a 2-0 lead now in favor of Glorious as they push through the rest of this game. And they have seed lead as well. So they're in a really good position. Falstad flies back to mid so they don't miss any experience, and already a full level gap between the two teams. Very, very dangerous stuff.
No new talents yet though, so it'll be interesting to see if Resurgence can come back before they get 7, but it's a ways off.
Yeah, yeah. And we do see actually a very, very aggressive early Terror coming down from Glorious, but they're able to do this. They have the level advantage. They will not get stunned up by that stop. Notorious DG actually going to be a little bit aggressive. Glamour jumping out.
Getting stunned by the Garden Terror too, getting rooted.
Looks like Notorious DG going to be in a bad location. Will be able to get out though. The Envenom goes down. Will he be able to get a heal off before he dies? He gets one off on himself, and he will not die to the Envenom. Really well done there, because Uther makes a lot of sense. Throws a line heal, hits himself. No big deal. And they're still extending this engagement. We have a 4v4 happening. We have Kazar now rotating up top as well, and a pretty big seed lead for Glorious, but nothing game breaking just yet. Falstad flying right back down the middle. They keep soaking this experience. Really well done by Glorious overall. They're maintaining their lead, even though it got a little sketchy. They're able to maintain their lead, and once they have that level 7 buff, I wouldn't be surprised to see them try to bait a fight on this bottom Terror, but we already have Rhaegar starting it, so no big deal.
Rhaegar's going for it. It looks like Val's going to come down and scout it out. Sees that it was pulled, but quickly backed out of. I mean, Glorious is shaping up to try and take this, and we got 4 members right now of Resurgence coming in. Falstad's only a barrel roll away, though, so they just want to watch as ZP takes the seeds, see if they go in on him or anything.
Stun hits, there's no wall, though.
No roots, nothing. It looks like Tech gets stunned, and a nice Frost Essence by Arthas just charging in with his AoE to slow them down. Tech drops very quickly. The slam comes down onto Uther and Falstad, and Uther drops very quickly. The whole time Rhaegar chasing away the Vala and Nazeebo, taking the kill on Vala. 4-for-1 exchange.
Yep, that's
And
actually going to give them the plant. Yeah, That's very dangerous. For whatever reason, if you're in the brush by the plant terror right there, it just hates you being in the brush. Like it's like, oh, you're stomping on my family's roots. Please get out of that bush, and it'll just turn and attack you. Like even if somebody's closer, it'll just turn and be like, no, this has to happen. So we saw that the plant did migrate down and hit that huge stun on I think 2 different people.
Falstad
And
gets a nice bribe, by the way, on their
yeah.
giants.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about Falstad. He could just fly in enemy territory and be like, yeah, this is mine now. He's like, oh, god damn it, Falstad, why do you have to do this? And he got it right before the plant terror as well. So he was able to get a nice little poke down on Faux and Short Steve. That plant not really going to do much of anything, but you know what? Put it on cooldown as you move down to bottom lane. That's alright. And we do see Glorious actually splitting this fight here. I'm not sure if they really need to do this. They have a 3-level lead with ultimates. If they all just group as 5 on the plant terror, they could probably just bulldoze their way to a push on keep. But it looks like they'll be able to do just that almost anyways, as Glaurung is going to be getting the top keep
Chen
wide
is
open.
just having a great time at top, and Falstad's pushing mid, so they're probably not going to go in for a huge engagement. They're just going to try and poke down this fort. Looks like finally Resurgence realizes this and sends Nazeebo to mid, but Chen's still drinking away and fire breathing that top wall.
Yeah, he's just kind of going at it. I mean, why not? You're in the clear. Nobody's really stopping you, and they actually still are maintaining this 3-level lead because Resurgence is so split up around the map. They're just completely losing a lane of experience, and it's hyper dangerous.
Level 11 for Glorious.
Scary, scary stuff. Mid is now exposed as well, so if any fight goes poorly in terms of Resurgence, some scary stuff can happen. I mean, they might lose actually 3 forts all at once if they lose a big team fight. We do see mid backing away as the what is his spiders? That's what it is.
Shockingly enough, we do see a Storm Earth Fire picked up on Chen and a Lust on Rehgar with the typical talents from Arthas, Tychus, and Falstad.
Oh, this is a dangerous fight for Resurgence. They
The
don't want
root
to take
kick
this just
on
yet.
Nazeebo. We got a stun in from a Nubarak to try and take him out. Falstad with the shock and awe. Short Steve very low. Uther getting caught in the middle of the Storm Earth Fire. Bloodlust is popped. Vala is being chased away by the Storms and Arthas. A Nubarak falls. Nazeebo falls. And Tassadar sitting alone at bottom wondering, where are you, team?
Yeah. So top fort's gonna fall. Mid fort almost guaranteed will fall as well. They might opt for knights. It's a little kind of silly to do that. They already have a master experience lead, and they could just go rush down that middle keep, but they're gonna play it safe, and it looks like they might back away just because Soma is also very low on mana, not able to heal anyone. But that fight was really risky on the part of Resurgence. They didn't have ults, and they put themselves in a location that they thought they might be getting a pick, but because they didn't pay attention to what was happening around the map, all of Glorious was missing, and the pick ended up getting flipped on them. The Bloodlust came in, and Bloodlust, I forgot to mention this before, also very, very good with Storm Earth and Fire.
We got a huge engagement going on. Uther hitting a 2-man ult on the Arthas and Falstad, but quickly dropping Tassadar coming in from behind with the Archon. It looks like Nazeebo ult is going down, just powering down AoE damage to the whole team of Glorious, but a few exchanges here and there. They're still chasing a Nubarak close on Rehgar's tail, and just some damage back and forth, and that's about it. A 1-for-nothing exchange. They lost Uther and almost got some of them. I mean, super low on Glorious, but nobody else falling.
That's the power of a 4-level difference.
Oh, and Arthas now popping his ghouls and chasing the Resurgence away. Nice shock and awe. Nazeebo dropping, and Nubarak just digging underground, going away. Another pickup by Glorious.
Yep. ZP now coming over here trying to finish the job on these giants that I think one of them got bribed by Syracuse. I think that's why he was down there at the beginning of that fight, and why Tassadar was like, hey, get off that. But again, mid is wide open. It doesn't have any damage on the actual fort yet. The well is pretty much one attack from dying. Same deal with bottom. If they wanted to push for a 16, like a tier 16 advantage, they could do that very easily. I'm not sure if they really need to be doing this plant terror right now. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop Resurgence from getting their own, as they will be able to just basically put one auto attack.
One seed.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
hit it.
they just need to put one auto attack and they'd get a seed, and they would get a terror, but
And Glorious
they're
is
opting
coming up.
to pick up Mercs.
Ooh, all they need is that 1 seed. It's not too difficult, but just get it. Come on.
They're thinking about it, but at the same time, they are 4 levels down, and because they capped those giants, Glorious does know where they are, and Arthur's actually going to go ahead and just right in. Notorious Dig actually going to get dropped very, very low at the beginning of this fight. Glamrong actually going to be able to split away, not have to worry about anything. ZP getting dropped very low. Will he be able to eat? He's actually going to be able to just walk away. Oh my goodness, so low health. Notorious Dig barely surviving. Will he be able to get out? No, it doesn't matter. Glamrong actually going to go ahead and get in there, getting that kill at the end. He does get stunned, will not be able to live. Kathonluck now attacking a creep instead of Tech or Nick.
Oh, that's shocking! Oh, nailing Tassadar.
Yeah, that'll do. So 2 people lost for Glorious, cutting down the experience lead by about a full level, but it doesn't matter. They're so far ahead right now. If they are able to take either of these forts down bottom or in mid, they will almost assuredly hit that 16 mark, and they'll be actually 2 tiers ahead if they're able to get this. But it's not going to matter because we'll have level 13 coming on pretty much right now for Resurgence, so they'll only be 1 tier ahead.
There's a small window that they can fight in.
Yeah, they need to find the opportunity right now. We do have a plant terror on Kathonluck, so they're not actually going to have Tychus for this fight.
Being very aggressive and getting stomped by the plant terror. Tries to dig away, super low, popping his shield. Nice stun by Anubarak. And will he get away? It looks like it, but that scares away because that's their front line right there, and they're going to have to retreat, heal up, and tap up, and that lets Glorious take out the plant when Resurgence only needed 1 seed.
Yeah, it's a little silly that they weren't able to pick up a single seed, but it's not the worst of things. Garden Terrors do become just pretty much exponentially stronger as the game goes on. They become huge, huge threats, and they should be able to take out this fort in mid. This will give them 16. Actually, they're going to have 16 before this. So talent tier advantage is real. We do have overdrive and a couple of stone skills.
Nice kick onto Vala, rooting her and taking her down. Half damage. Arthur's with a nice snare on Notorious. Shock and awe hitting both of them. Notorious dropping down. Vala ulting. Who was that? Uther falling. Nazebo falling. Anubarak's trying to CC them down. He falls. And Tech and Foxpaw are trying to finish off and do some damage. Another great snare by Arthas, taking out the Vala. And Tassadar having just uses, he has nothing, and Bloodlust is popped, and he is taken out of the fight. A 5-for-0 exchange.
This could be game. The Bloodlust is up. We still have Odin. They're able to take this down, and they're going to try to rush down Core, I would imagine. Rhaegar actually ended up losing his life, so this is going to be a little interesting. We do have Glau. He's going to be tanking out the majority of the damage on Core as he can just brew up all the time. Jumping over towards the enemy core, or the enemy spawn point, probably not the best of ideas, but it still looks like they might be able to pull this off. As long as Syracuse can stay alive and compound
nice
a little bit longer.
Oh, they're picking them all out. It's 2%. Oh, barely taking it. ZP and Syracuse both very low, but a great game by Glorious.
Yeah, that last second Bloodlust after the fight happened was pretty much what allowed them to just steamroll the end of the game. They won the fight without needing Bloodlust, and that allowed them to use it on structures purely, just kind of bulldoze through it. And it was a weird engagement there from Resurgence at the end. They waited until level 16 was on Glorious instead of trying to pick that fight a little bit earlier. Now, I'm not sure if they didn't have certain ults up or if they just didn't have certain things on cooldown, but waiting until they were a massive power spike ahead of you, probably not the best of ideas, and it ended up costing them the game.
They were so close in so many engagements. Glorious barely holding on, keeping their lives. I gotta say, that was a very, very good play by Resurgence. I mean, even though they lost, they were doing so much damage. And Nazebo, with his Ravenous Spirit, barely finishing off so many members of Glorious. But Glorious just getting out. Maybe that chain heal was just enough to heal the members of the team from the poison damage from Ravenous on Nazebo.
Yeah, I still think that I would have rather seen a Zagara this game.
Mm-hmm.
Nazebo, I mean, he did do work. He just didn't do enough for me to appreciate him being there. The Ma almost certainly would have been a better choice just because of it can be used defensively, and then after that defensive play, you can likely switch it around and flip it on the enemy team as long as you've done enough damage to their team while the people that are mod are in Ma. And it's just really scary to deal with, and it's really safe to deal with, or really safe to play. But Nazebo, it's a tough pick. It's a tough draft to use Nazebo and to use him to full effectiveness, especially when you're dealing with a team like Glorious, which is just so hyper aggro all the time. And if you let them get out ahead, Nazebo becomes infinitely less scary. So it's Nazebo to me is kind of like Nova. If you get out ahead of him, he doesn't do as much scary stuff. But if
Mm.
he's ahead of you, he's just gonna ruin your day with that Ravenous Spirit.
And then if he gets gathering power, that much more
Yep.
damage. Like,
Yep.
definitely a fright. And Glorious not having any CC except a grenade, which he's going to be popping Odin, so there's not really going to be any CC for Nazebo. I mean, whew, a, a little bit of fright on Glorious's end during those pick bans, but they ended up performing very well and making sure that, like you said, pushing down that front line so Nazebo just didn't have the opportunity to really get off that ult.
Yep. I mean, it's just a scary thing. Like when you take Nazebo, it's so important to have the ability to just not be targeted. And I know that sounds really generic and kind of silly, but like Nazebo's one of those heroes that you have to give him an opening to literally just never get targeted. Because if he does, he's just gonna pop, and all of his effectiveness goes away immediately if he has any kind of CC on him. Way worse than almost anyone else in this game. So it happened. I mean, we saw it. Hopefully, Resurgence just shrugs that game off. Says, "Okay, we saw what they did. We know how they play now. Let's bring this back. Let's not make the same mistakes that we did, and we'll bring in the game or bring the set to game three."
They
But
definitely
we are
showed that
going
they
into game
can
two
do that.
now.
We're going into game two now, yes. No, do not, do not know what the map is yet, and we are waiting for them to get into the picks and bans right now. I think we will take.
I am.
Are you
Yeah,
in?
go ahead. Go. I'm in the lobby. I'll invite you in a second.
Oh, okay. Then
Uh,
I was gonna say, should we go to a quick little break? But if everybody is
yeah, I
ready to
mean,
go,
you
then
can. They're not ready. They're not ready. We can go to a break, and we'll be back real soon.
all right, we'll be right back, guys.
Should be getting into game soon, or rather draft soon. I don't know if
I
they're doing that
believe
yet.
we'll be getting into the drafts very shortly. Let's just bring it back to here, though. And what does Resurgence need to do to get back into this?
Well, I mean, the next map is Cursed Hollow, so there's a lot of really tricky things you can do on that map. There's a lot of baits you can do. You can use mercs effectively. I mean, it's pretty much wide open for them. The nice thing with set play, where you're not doing best of ones, you're doing best of three, is that whatever you did the previous game doesn't have basically any effect on what you do this game. So you don't have to worry about any like overlapping abilities, like nothing. Everything is zero sum. So they can shrug that game off. They can come in here and they can say, all right, you know what? Let's play our game. Let's not let them do their thing. Let's play our game. Let's say, you know what? We're gonna go in. We're gonna take these mercs at this time. We're gonna force this tribute, and we're gonna be more aggressive against them than they are against us. So I would like to see them draft a little bit stronger. They didn't have a front line that game.
Hmm.
The like a lot of people will see a noob and they'll think, okay, he's a warrior, and we've seen it in competitive play, and a lot of people that have been watching competitive play, whether it be HPL, ECS, my events, anything, they'll see a noob and be like, wow, he's really hard to kill. And a lot of the times they don't realize that he's hard to kill because there's multiple tanks on the team, and there's usually 1 to 2 healers on the team. And what that does is it allows him to get in, it allows him to drop his rotation, and then kind of walk away, because usually it'll be kind of a bait and switch where he'll go in, he'll be the initiator, but then an Arthas or a Tyrael or a Chen will follow up behind him, and he can just kind of walk away after that, and then all of
Hmm.
the aggression goes on to the Chen instead, or the either one of the other tanks that I
Yeah.
listed. And that's one of the reasons why so many compositions have been using double warrior in the front line, because they can put that first person in there, they'll eat a bunch of shots, and then they'll back up and they'll wait for a heal, and then they'll go right back into the fight.
Hmm.
Um, but what they did there, as we saw, like they had the Tassadar, they had the Uther, but Tassadar doesn't have heals. He does have a shield, but it's nothing like
Nothing in
significant.
comparison.
Yeah, it's nothing like massively significant. Like a Malfurion regrowth, while it is over time, it's a huge amount of health.
Hmm.
Uther is just dumb. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
He's allowed to just heal like everything. He'll heal a tank up to like full in like 2 seconds. Thank God he doesn't have rewind anymore. Um, and so like that's something that they can deal with, or that's something that they have to deal with. But if you only have one healer and one tank, then all the enemy team really needs to do is say, okay, if either one of those steps out too far, we'll just blow them up, and then there's nothing they can do about it. Like I said at the beginning of that game when we were in draft, if Glorious was allowed to just bloodlust down one target and kind of steamroll through the rest, then
Hmm.
it didn't matter that they had Nizibo. He wasn't going to be able to do anything. He's not going to be able to stop anything.
Hmm.
So they need to have more of a presence in team fights. They need to have either more CC with that. Like if they had Vala, Uther, and Anub with all CC talents, like you're looking at Reign of Vengeance
Hmm.
and Rewind on. Actually, I don't even know if they got to Rewind for.
No, they didn't even get to
It was like
16.
17-14, I think that game ended.
Yep.
So that's an issue that you have to kind of take into consideration too with a noob, where while he is like super CC heavy, he also doesn't get rewind until 16, while other heroes get it at 13. So you have to make it to that late game as well. But again, his health pool isn't actually that large. Granted, he does have his own self shield for a noob, but if he gets stunned, he can't self shield and he gets blown up. So
Hmm.
it's really hard to have that front line with just those two heroes, and I would like to see them draft something a little bit more tanky this time around. Or if they want to go with the single warrior, they can try to draft Stitches. Stitches was open that game, and they can look for picks to do that kind of a playstyle. And picks will almost always get you back into the game if you play it right, and you can bring it into the late game. So that's an option for them if they really like the single warrior style. They can do that and kind of run the same idea, just a little bit cleaner.
It's definitely difficult to want to focus down a Chen because Storm, Earth,
Yeah.
Fire, now you got three of them and you can't even deal direct damage. And once you pop them all, here's Chen, he's back. So
Right.
definitely
Then
difficult to fight
he's
against
also
that.
brewing up in the whole process as well. So he has his own self shields that just keep generating. If you take the level 4 talent where it doubles, it's like, oh my god, how am I supposed to cut through this? So there's a lot of things that just went in favor of Glorious that game, and namely just their sheer tankiness. Like Rhaegar doesn't do a massive amount of healing with his chain heal, but it's enough to offset a lot of the damage that's coming in, combined with an Arthas and combined with the shields that we're going to be seeing from Chen. But actually, an Arthas ban coming out here immediately. So Glorious looking for maybe another Chen play um, with Tyrael, or they might be feeling really confident and saying, you know what, we'll deny the Arthas from you, and we're just going to take Stitches. We're going to be the ones that are looking
Hmm.
for picks this game, and you're not going to have anything that we really have to worry about. Maybe they'll have a Chen at most to worry about, but I mean, you pick a Tyrael, that's fine. You pick, Even a Diablo now, that's fine. You can burst him down. Arthas is really the only one for me that I'm just like, oh my God, if I pick Arthas, like he might just engage on us and we might just die. So that's a thing. I doubt we'll see Diablo, but we did see one today. And if you pick on a noob, it's like it's just the best thing ever because
Hmm.
he either has to defensively burrow away or he just dies, and that is just that's money.
And I don't
So
know what
see,
ult a noob picked too, if it was Web Blast or Locust Swarm, because I know Locust Swarm is
yeah,
pretty nice against an Arthas because when he pops those ghouls, it's just more health for you. So,
right, right. Um, I think I saw Locust Swarm. I don't remember seeing any web wraps that game at all.
mhm.
So I want to say that they did Locust Swarm. Now the Tyrael ban is really risky. I'm not
That's
I'm not sure if I agree with it for the just for the way that Resurgence plays. I'm not sure if I agree with it because now what we're gonna see, we see the Tychus right away, and now we can see Glorious going either way. They can go a noob in Chen, or they can just go Stitches.
it's a lot of
It's a
tanks
really,
right out of the pool,
yeah, it's
just
it's
with
a
those
really
two.
scary position, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Chen and a noob get picked up on Glorious next if they don't get picked up right here by Resurgence.
I feel they have to get one or the other or both. I mean,
Right,
you,
right.
you can't let them get to the next round. And then also there's Uther out there who's, I mean, he's not really a tank, but well, he is. I mean, he's a front liner that will run in there and stun you, and then ult you. So, or I mean, unless we see the divine shield, but
I don't think Glorious doesn't fear Uther. They're one of the teams
mhm,
in the game that just doesn't they don't actually care. They'll play through it. They don't mind it. I mean, we saw it last game. It was not
the
an issue at
Rhaegar.
all for them. Yep, they just like, all right, Rhaegar, well, let's just go through this. We'll lust through anything. We don't care. But I think you're right. I think they have to pick at least a noob or Chen here and not give both of them to Glorious because if they give them both to Glorious, I wouldn't doubt seeing them both take it. They'll just be like, you know what? We don't need the healers. We'll just do this. We'll beef up our lineup. The only options you're gonna have left are gonna be Diablo and Sonya, basically, for warriors.
ETC, hey ETC, come
No,
on
he
now.
doesn't actually exist. He's awful. But he does have his niche uses, but
Yeah.
pulling an ETC against a Tychus is pretty much just asking to get grenaded. Like you're
Yep.
never gonna get your mosh pit off. So it's highly unlikely that we'll see that. But you're right, he does exist. But they have two fantastic options on the table for them. They do play a noob, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it again. But again, if they do that a noob option, then they're running the same draft that they did last time, and it might not work out for them. We saw it. It's not underpowered for Resurgence. They definitely know how to use it, but it's a matter of coordinating everything else after it. And if they also don't pick up a damage here, it could get scary.
Falstad.
Okay, so the Falstad pick, it makes sense, but again, they're leaving open a huge front line for Glorious. I would like to see Chen and Anu. I've said it like 5 times already, but I would like to see it here. It would make a lot of sense to me because they can just lock up Falstad, they can lock up Tassadar, they can give them Uther. They don't care. They already have so much front line that what's Uther gonna do? Like he's gonna get to the back line and then die? Great, wonderful times.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if Falstad was necessarily the best of picks there, but denying it from Glorious isn't the worst. I think for the first time ever, I might say that the Tassadar pick here might have been a little early, and it's really weird to say that. But if they if Resurgence is going this path, if they do pick up another damage dealer and they pick up Stitches, I'm all right. I'm on board with this.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't pick up Stitches and they pick up a noob, I'm a little bit less on board. Okay, so they can't pick up a noob. It doesn't
Yep.
matter. So now they're either forced into taking Stitches or Chen if Glorious doesn't take it. Glorious may opt to take Uther here just for the extra CC and not having to worry about anything scary coming in. After that, I mean, Zagara is always an option, so that's on the table. I don't know if Resurgence even plays that. I know Glorious does from time to time, and it's gonna come down to basically this pick alone will likely decide the rest of the draft and how it goes. And if it's frontline, just health, I'm not sure Resurgence has a choice but to pick Stitches and try to get a pick mid to late game.
I have to
So
say that's
okay,
pretty
so it
big
is Chen.
confidence for Resurgence, letting Glorious not pick a tank in those first two picks, and Glorious picking up both Anub and Chen. I mean, the root kick, the tons of CC from Anubarak, and then if he goes for that web blast, even more CC, and that really doesn't leave too many picks for Resurgence. I mean, like you were saying, there's now Diablo, Sonya,
Stitches.
Stitches, and then the kind of lower ones, etc. Muradin. Like,
I forgot Meriden exists.
yeah, right. He's like
He just doesn't
Lily.
exist in my book.
Lily and
But I
Muradin
think
sitting on the bench with their flags waving for everybody, every other hero in the game, going, "Yay!"
right. I think the biggest scary thing right now is that Stitches is still on board for. I highly doubt Glorious would take Stitches. It's
No.
super unlikely, but Zeratul is still on board for Glorious, and with
Ooh,
the amount
that's
of CC
scary.
they already have right now, if they put Zeratul on Glaurung, I honestly don't see a way that Resurgence can even bring this back. Like they almost have to pick Stitches if they see a Zeratul pick. They don't have to pick Stitches right now because it's again really unlikely that Glorious is going to pick anything. They have 2 seconds left though, so they better pick real quick. And they do pick up
Zero
Zeratul
tool
and
and
possibly Brightwing.
so I saw the
It popped
flat.
up
Oh,
and
it
then it
looked
went
like
away.
it refreshed. So Zeratul may have been an auto pick, but it's not.
It
I think
is.
it's actually a pretty
No,
good
it's a
pick.
good pick. It's a good pick. It's denying Zeratul from the enemy
Hmm.
team. It's not allowing Glorious to get like that hyper burst comp that they could have
Yeah.
had. They still could do Nova again. I don't think anyone on Glorious does play Nova, but they can opt for Vala here, which I am so for in this scenario. Like if anybody, okay, they do play Nova. Well, that
Uther
happens.
Nova. That's a pretty strong lineup right there for
Yeah,
Glorious.
I was gonna say Vala and Uther, just because of the rate of vengeance and how it will go so well with an Impale and
Hmm.
Chen and just all kinds of good stuff. But Nova works just as well if she sees. Okay, so the Stitches does come out. That's good. Nova, the Nova pickup is it's a little weird. I get it. She can burst down 4 out of the 5 heroes on Resurgence, so it's not a bad pickup by any regards. And it does have she does have Precision Strike, which does combo very well with Divine Storm. So that can happen. I'm a little worried that if the Nova plays just a tiny bit too far up, if she gets picked by Stitches, or if Zeratul sees her out, he can definitely burst her down. But Nova obviously can burst Zeratul down in response,
Hmm.
so that's a thing. And
I'm just
I'm gonna
afraid of
guess
Glorious's engagement. They
right, yeah, they can just go in. They can pick a fight whenever they want and just kind of blow up everything.
I mean, this is. I feel this is putting a lot of pressure onto the Stitches because their only disengagement is either Void Prison or if Brightwing goes for the pushback. Like, Glorious has a great engagement. So just going over the draft, I feel Glorious has the better team composition. But if Resurgence can pull it out, like if they can get the hooks, I think
Right.
Glorious or Resurgence, sorry, is going to be able to take this pretty handedly. I mean, I feel it's all on those hooks though, and the Void Prisons.
Yeah, I would say that arguably Cursed Hollow is the best Stitches map as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something to look forward to. I don't know. So obviously, Emerald Dream is it's a great ult. It does a lot of work on pretty much everything if you time it correctly. But Tychus is already ranged. Nova is already never going to want to be in that range of the ult anyways. And when you use it, when Brightwing starts up her animation for Emerald Wind, she stays perfectly static. And as a Nova player, that's like that's it. That's what you look for. Someone that's in the middle of a channel or anything like that. Like you could just go to town on that. You throw your pinning shot. Whether you take overdrive or crippling shot, it doesn't even matter. You're gonna hit everything, and it's likely that Brightwing will probably pop if she does go with Emerald Wind. Now, whether or not that's worth it will be decided as the game goes on.
Nice little
I'm not.
pink
I
Billy
don't know.
Goat.
I don't know. Yeah, Wonder Billy. Wonder Billies are so cute. I don't know. It's hard to say if Blink Heal should be the choice here or if Emerald Wind
They
should be
do
it.
have that double bribe too. I
Right.
completely
That's
overlooked that. The Falstad and Brightwing. So
that does exist. Although on this map, it's not as worth, but it's not bad in any situation. So
hmm
if the issue that it's not as good on this map as others is because RNG the tribute spawns are like
yeah,
if you were able to granted it is on 2 global heroes, so they can get back to lane very quickly. Uther actually going to be a little bit pressured here in mid. The hook, not happening. But
intimidation factor.
right, they're just gonna walk in and like, "Rrr," and growl at them. Uh, the bribe ability is really nice on Curse because they are able to say, okay, tribute spawning top. Let's try to get down to an area where tribute isn't, so maybe they'll bribe giants or something on bottom
So
if
we got
tribute.
a gank getting ready to go for a top on Fox Pop. Both Anub and Nova just getting ready. Kick goes in. The snipe, the knockup by Glarong, and Fox Pop barely, oh, so close. Barely barrel rolls over the wall. Nice gank by Glorious. That's going to force Fox to have to tap, and that's huge because that's 90 seconds. He's going to be sitting there having to hide.
Yeah, you can't do anything really intense, and that's the beauty of having Nova and a new Barak roaming around.
Oh,
the
another
stun does
great
come out,
gank.
and actually really well done.
Body
Soma
block by
blocking
Uther.
with Uther, just 3-man body block. The clone does come down to try to get a body block. It's a little off point, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter. Narak actually will end up losing his life in mid, and Short Sleeve comes in, throws the cleave, doesn't hit anything, forced to blink away. So, a nice pickup there. Tribute should be spawning in about a minute, so it's not going to matter in that regard. And we do see the rotation coming down to bottom. Not sure if they're going to be able to get anything off of these two, as they're both really slippery and...
Right wing.
Oh, nice.
Nice check.
Yeah, that was really well done. When you see that many people missing, you want to kind of keep your eyes about you. And we do see Steve. I'm not sure if they know he's there. We saw Glau just turn and be like, hey, I see you, and walk away, but nothing happening there, and a good call from Glorious to say, okay, you know what? We have tributes in about 30 seconds. Let's take out our giants, and then we'll be able to pressure wherever we go. Short Steve making the right call, though. He's going to say, hey, they're doing this stuff. We need to do something here.
Pretty good tribute spawn, though, all the way onto Resurgence's side. Short Steve getting pushed away. I really don't think he's going to be able to pressure. Uther's not that far away. It looks like he's moving up towards them, so I really don't see Zeratul being able to get anything off. And
yeah, this is actually really
Falstad,
dangerous if he stays, but he's okay.
Falstad and Brightwing going up. It looks like Brightwing blunk to Falstad, but ended up in these trees right down there, so Brightwing's going to have to run, but they still get the tribute anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. Gloria started that. They started the Giants a little late for my liking, and it ended up basically costing them the tribute. But at the same time, they do have Tychus down bottom. He is putting a lot of pressure on bot lane. It's not going to be enough to take down a tower or anything just yet, but breaking those early towers is really important when you have objectives that buff or debuff enemy creeps.
Gang coming in on Stitches. Yeah. He's a little bit overextended, and I really don't think he's going to be able to get out of that. He's triple blocked, and he's trying to walk out of there, but it looks like he's just going to be body blocked to death. Short Steve coming in, not able to do anything, and during all of that time, Falstad uses one of his bribes for the Giants at bot lane.
Yep. So, unfortunate that that Stitches is playing a little bit too far ahead. He's pushing out a little bit too far in lane, and it's cost him his life twice so far. We do see, however, that Gathering Power was picked up on 3 heroes in this game: Nova, Zeratul, and Falstad. So if these kills do happen on bottom,
Holy Short
away, but that, oh my goodness!
What a
that
pick.
Burrow Strike was fantastic. Glau showing how strong of a Zeratul player he is. He knows what the enemy Zeratools are thinking, and says, you know what? I'm going to mind game this out. We're going to get this kill even if you blink away. So well done there, and a first tribute looking like it's going to go over to Glorious, and it does.
Uther flipping through his never-ending book as he takes the tribute. Hook tried by Stitches, but just a little bit too far. And it looks like they're going to go for the Knights. I mean, there's really no pressure that they have to worry about. Zeratul's been trying to roam around, but hasn't been able to get off any ganks, really. He's just been playing catch-up, and now he's going to go do what he did at Giants was, hey, guys, they're doing this, but okay. And he's just going to go ahead and leave. Syracuse tossing out a snipe at him, telling him, I know you're there. And it looks like they may catch Uther out right now. Tychus is coming up right onto Short Steve. Gets a stun from Uther, and he already used his blink. Oh, and it's back off cooldown. And he barely gets away. Legit comes in with a sick kick to take out Zeratul. And that's another pick for Glorious. They are doing very well at rotating and catching people off guard.
Yeah, I mean, the heal was able to knock Zeratul out of stealth, which allowed for that kick to hit. And that was just fantastic teamwork right there to end up picking up that kill. We do have almost level 10 on Glorious. We see that there's still Tychus in the middle trying to get that level 10 before this tribute spawns, but it looks like smartly Resurgence is saying, you know what, let's not go in on this, let's just wait it out. It's not curse, it's not worth our time. We're going to play slow. The Knights pickup, though, is a very good call as long as we don't see a rotation down onto that from Glorious. Glorious actually going to go ahead and just pick up the enemy's Golem very early in the game, and they can do this because they have level 10. Full
And I
level
see Brightwing's
gap
also down a bot, so...
Scary time. Yeah. Well, I mean,
No
Brightwing
fear.
can teleport up if she really needed to, but again, the level 10 difference, very strong, and we are seeing Locust Swarm this time, so no Web Wrap. Divine Storm, Commandeer Odin, Storm Earth and Fire, and Precision Strike. So very standard across the board, and very in-your-face ability from Glorious, as you know they like to do. That's kind of their thing.
Chen right now just pushing top with the Golem, trying to take out that tower. I don't think this Golem's going to get too much. Nirak hooks ZP, but he just walks away. Short Steve is up there trying to damage him, but if ZP ever is really in any big trouble, he'll just ult. There he goes, and get right out of there. No worries.
I mean, that's a good idea, being able to force ZP out of that ult, but it is going to force, or rather allow Glorious to be able to pick up this tribute on bottom, and that's really dangerous. They're not going straight to it, though. They are going to be finishing this Golem.
They're all
Not necessarily a misplay, but the stall gonna let Resurgence set up for this, and
I think
I like
Resurgence
the
needs
call.
to just go, though. I mean,
Yeah. I like the
Chen
call
ult
from
down.
Voice to just back down. Exactly. There's no channel. They're not going to have to worry about that. There will be a decent amount of stalling just because they have Nova and Uther. They can just throw out line nukes. They can throw out any spells they want to stop this. And the delay from both teams, very interesting here as Glorong actually goes in for this fight.
A nice get in by Glorong. Glorong pops his Locust Swarm. A nice shock and awe by Falstad. Someone's dropping very low. Precision Strike onto Tech, but he uses his E. Void Prism on Nova. Gets out of there. Everybody is dropping. Stitch is down. Anub down. Brightwing down. Zeratul down. Nubarak and Uther are down, and they pick off Tassadar, and Fox has to leave, but Nova gets that last shot off. A 2-for-5 exchange. Glorious performing very well, and that's going to be a curse for them.
Yeah, the biggest part about that is the curse. The fact that they were able to kill so many people and get the curse on top of it will allow them to likely get maybe not the entirety of this fort, but drop it down pretty low if Syracuse decides to auto snipe and back away. Yeah, so they're going to take it down to about half health as Stitches comes in and tries to do something. We do see that the minions down bottom are able to pick up that fort, and the minions up top may actually get a fort as well. The curse is going to be around for another 45 seconds. Falstad says, no. We're not dealing with this.
I can't
Don't
let this
come to top."
happen.
Yeah, so that's a good call there from Resurgence. Lucky that Nova didn't actually rotate top and wait for that. Not sure if they realized that was happening, but we do see Glorious trying to get in here, trying to get these giants. Not going to happen. The snare does come out from the flying kick, but Smartly says, you know what? We don't know where the rest of them are. Let's not force a fight here. Let's just take what we can in mid, and they will be able to pick up this fort before the curse goes down. And we've got about a minute and a half on Knight, so they're not going to be contesting that. We have about 2 minutes on the Golem up top, also not contesting that. They're going to swing up top for a very easy fort kill as well. So they'll be looking at almost a 3-level lead coming into the next team fight if they decide to fight right here.
Relentless
Really
was
dangerous
picked
for
up on
Resurgence.
Chen, by the way, so Brightwing CC isn't really going to hold Chen back. And Nova going for that hollow decoy damage.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, but
I'm
some
wondering
people like
if
it.
he's going to get the double fake, though. 3 Novas.
He could. I mean, they're far enough ahead that it's not going to hurt them, but not having rewind is something that I just don't agree with, especially if you take Gathering Power. Just because, I mean, you have rewind, you have snipe, your snipe's going to be doing, like, at minimum 1,000 damage when you hit 16. You might as well just rewind it and blow someone up.
So we
There's
got
no
an
way
engagement. Chen's getting ready. They go for Stitches. A very tanky person. So much sprinting in there. Stunning the Falstad. Brightwing. 3-man Void Prism. Uther falling down. Brightwing with a very nice tailwind. Another great Uther stun. Falstad using a shock and awe. Trying to pop that Odin. Who fell in the back? Brightwing fell in the back from Chen. Nova is falling down. Short Steve is down. They are continuing the pressure. Foxpaw is going to drop down. Tassadar having to run away, but gets sniped by the Odin, and now it's all up to Stitches, and ZP on Chen pops his Storm Earthfire. It looks like he's going to get that kill on Stitches. Maybe, just
Going to be very low. He should be able to
barely.
jump to him one more time and pick up the kill if he gets the slow. Oh, the slow actually didn't go down. The Earth Spirit was not able to attack, so the slow didn't get down on him.
Stitches
If
barely
that happened,
surviving.
he would have been able to pick up the kill. Now, that fight was pretty much as good of an engage as Resurgence could ask for, and I don't know who Stitches ended up gorging, but the separation of the 3-man Void Prism to start it was just fantastic. the separation afterwards with the Emerald Win onto Uther, pushed him away, got him the kill. The Nova was able to throw down a precision strike, and it did end up hitting Brightwing and I think one more person. Brightwing did end up losing their life. The Zeratul not able to do too much this early on, as the level difference will allow for a sizable health jump on Glorious. So he can't really burst anyone out, but he can do a nice chunk of damage to them. He was able to do that, but he ended up getting a lot of incidental damage thrown at him, and he ended up losing his life because of that.
Stitch is getting caught out with the root kick on ZP, impaled by a noob.
That's not good.
Gone.
You don't want to get picked on Stitches. You want to be the one doing the pick.
Yeah.
And now there's absolutely zero front line or even really any kind of engagement for Resurgence, and that's going to lead to another Golem being taken away by Glorious in top.
They will gladly give that curse to Resurgence. I mean, it's not even a curse, it's just 2 out of 3, so huge pickup for Glorious getting that pick on Stitches. I mean, once that root kick lands, you're not really going to get away. I mean, you got a grenade to get knocked back, you got Uther with the stun, you got a Nubarak with his stuns, and then, I mean, the root kick's on a 5-second cooldown with a 1-second snare.
Yeah.
You're not really going to get out of that.
Yeah, it's, again, I mean, we talked about this today a lot, and the similarities between Chen and Arthas are apparent right there with what you were just talking about. Some nice recalls here from Resurgence to be like, okay, everyone's missing, we need to leave. So really well done to say, yeah, all right, let's get out of here. They are gonna have to deal with another Golem though, and I mean I gotta give it to Glorious here. They're controlling the map extremely well. They've taken any of the big mercs that they want. They're able to pick them up, and now this tribute is either the curse for Resurgence or it's a single tribute for Glorious, but what it really is just a massive bait. This is exactly what Glorious wants. They have the tier upgrade in their favor.
Void Prism, 5-man Void Prism
job.
To give them the curse. Nice pick by Short Steve. They needed that.
They need to play this correctly. They can't make a mistake now. They won't have Void Prison at their disposal. They need to make sure that Brightwing doesn't get caught.
Stunned. Uther popped.
He's going to blow up. We see ZP now in the back line trying to get something started. The kick will be up again. Bopa actually going to get stunned out. The rewind does come out. He will not be able to tumble away as a fantastic burrow charge stops him mid-tumble. Nirak now getting picked up as we see the kick comes out. He's going to get dropped down, and what was a fantastic play ends up turning around. The use of a Void Prison as a defensive measure is great, but like I said, you cannot get picked afterwards, otherwise this is the result.
To everybody watching, this isn't even Glorious's curse. They're being cursed right now, and they're the ones being the aggressors. That's a huge pickup. I mean, their curse by Resurgence, they'll get bottom 4, which is nice. They now get level 16 talent, so they're on an evil talent playing field. So they need to start winning some team fights, and they need to start winning them quick, because once Glorious gets level 20, it's going to be tough to get back out of that.
Yeah. I mean, what you said is exactly what the issue is. They have no way of getting in on this unless they find that pick and they bring it back. If they don't get that, I don't see them doing anything major anytime soon. It has to be on Stitches. Stitches has to get the pick, and they need to turn and blow it up. But at this point, they don't necessarily have that burst. I mean, they've lost so many people that I don't know if Zeratul has died recently, but I'm not sure if any of them really have any Gathering Power stacks. I know for a fact that none of them are full on Gathering Power because they only have 4 kills. So the burst is not at their maximum, and they are 3 levels behind. Well, they'll be 2 by the time the next fight happens. And just because of those raw health values, the burst is going to be not as effective, but at the same time, they have Nova that they're dealing with, who's 2 levels ahead of them, and she did actually end up taking double pig, so her burst isn't going to be something massive.
Brightwing getting caught out, falls out with a shock and awe. Noob with a great stun. Brightwing got caught out by the ZP. ZP is now ulting. He's chasing out Falstad. Stitches way in the back. A nice precision strike. Takes out Stitches. Another great jump in by Anubarak. Drops Zeratul and Brightwing. Falstad's not going to be able to get out of this one, and I think that's just going to leave Tassadar to his death, and that may be game right there. They may be able to just end it. I mean, 40-second respawn
That is 100% game over, yeah. I mean, we're looking at 30-second respawn timers, as you said. Tech is definitely going to die, and they have a free path to the core. 30 seconds, more than enough for a level 19 team to take this down. Lavrong actually going to go shield up and go in. ZP likely should be the one that had gone in first, and he will actually be the one that the core switches its aggro towards. And that's going to be all she wrote. They will be able to take this down. ZP able to tank it out with his brew. No issues there. I actually have Odin still up for them, and that's going to be game. So Gloria is going 2-0 with the double Nova, double clone Nova. Interesting.
Went ahead and showed you guys the talent so you can see what happened, but I mean, we were saying it beforehand, Stitches has to land hooks, and I mean, he wasn't the one getting hooked, but he was getting kicked. Almost the same. He was getting caught out, and he just wasn't able to land any necessary hooks in order to put Resurgence ahead, so it was a great play by Resurgence. They just needed some of those hooks to land, and Glorious showing their power, just all that CC. You got the Uther, the Chen root kick, the Nubarak stuns. They caught Brightwing out when Brightwing yet again tried to blink to one of their teammates, but wasn't able to.
Yeah, I mean, that Void Prism was great. It was a great Void Prism. It got them the curse, but because they didn't immediately have a way to get out, like, if they were going to do that, they really only should have had one person around there that was going to be capping that tribute and just no one else there. Like, if that was their plan in the first place, they needed to just say, okay, you know what? We're burning VP for this. Go be elsewhere. Don't be around here. Don't get picked. And they were there. They got picked. It ended up really badly for them. They lost the game because of it. It was a great idea. Like, those are the types of ideas that will potentially win you games if you're able to adapt to the game like that. But I mean, again, we saw the result and it just didn't end up working. So GG to that. It was a good game. I mean, Glorious showing that they are still an extremely strong team and will be very, very big contender going into playoffs.
Yes, and going back to the bans, I mean, Arthas Tyrael ban, it was risky for Resurgence to pick Tassadar Falstad, leaving that Anubarak and Chen out there. I mean, those are really strong tanks, and I think that shows that Stitches just wasn't enough.
Right. I mean, the Stitches pick, we talked about it at length during the draft. It had to have the picks had to happen if they were going to do that, and they just didn't happen. I don't think they even got a single pick ever. I don't actually remember a single hook landing that swung any fight in their favor. And I don't even know who he gorged when he did use it. I'm actually able to watch the stream in delay right now as they go for this fight, and it looks like he hasn't gorged anyone yet, and he actually gorges Tychus, which not the worst of things, but he's just going to come right back out and Odin up if anything
And all that
bad
damage that you
happens.
just did with
Yeah.
Gorge negated.
Yeah, it's just going to go away. So I don't know. It was a very dangerous play, a very dangerous draft for them. It didn't pay off, and I mean, we talked about it again at length in the beginning, and it was just dominance from the beginning of the game to the end from Glorious. So
Their roaming
well done on
gank
their part.
squad proved stronger. Anubarak able to get that CC off with the Nova hitting the snipes. Right now we're going to go to a quick little commercial break, and then we'll be back for Vex Gaming versus Nexus Champ. I'm excited for those. See you in a little bit, guys.